He's in a state of distress. He can't read a book. He's walking back and forth. He's pacing. He's like, yo, I need a legal call. He's telling his lawyers, I need you to come up here. You're around real wolves now. Somebody's going to press this dude. What we would call extortion, right? He's going to fall right in place. He's going to pay.
Do you want to go over kind of like where he's at right now? You know, he just got denied bond.
Yeah, they denied him bail. But do I think eventually he might get it through the Second Circuit? Possibly. Like, I printed all the stuff from, like, his judge when she denies him. She actually looks at him and tells him, look, you're a drug addict. You're a violent dude. I'm not letting you out. And this is why. And, you knew all these charges were going on, and you're still down here with drugs in your hotel room, and you're still trying to coerce witnesses. So the judge just blasted him. I mean, obviously he's got some big shot lawyers in New York, but big shot lawyers in the feds, for people that don't know, all you're doing is giving them a bunch of money because they really can't help you. When they got you, they got you. And do I think Puffy's in trouble? 100%. You know this, and I know this, right? They do some bullshit cases. They catch crack dealers. They're just nonsense cases, 30-day investigation. But when they're on your ass for some serious stuff and you're somebody important and you do have some money and you do have influence, I think they're going to cross all their T's and dot all their I's. And I think they did that in this case. And people were writing me after I did a video 6 months ago when they did the raid. They're like, oh, you're wrong. They never arrested him. And I said, just wait. It's coming. They're not spending all that money. They're not spending all that money to go search, this dude's residence in California or Florida or New York or wherever. And it's not. I mean, if the Eastern District or the Southern District of New York, if the U.S. Attorney's Office and FBI are in California, they're there because they got something. And this is what they had. And I said this a long time ago, Little Rod files the lawsuit. He files this lawsuit, but the lawsuit is wrote like an indictment. They actually say he violated, 18 USC, whatever. And this is how he violated it. And then he puts still video, photos in there. And I think that Little Rod, his lawyer, probably went and said, hey, someone dropped that off at the U.S. Attorney's Office. Hey, this is the lawsuit we filed. And here goes some video footage. Here's some clips. And I think they got back to Little Rod like, hey, to his lawyer, like, look, we need those videos. And obviously this dude really despised Puffy, right? Puffy obviously did something to this dude because he was his, his videographer. He was his producer on a bunch of his music. And he's like, look, he did something wrong, man. He pissed the dude off. So really the dude was like, you know what? I think, I hate this dude. And this is why I hate him. And he's convinced himself why he hates him. Right. And he dropped that lawsuit. And he turns over the footage and the evidence. They got plenty of evidence, brother.
Well, and here's the thing about the indictment, and we can get to what it's going to be like for him in prison in a second too. But here's the way I see the indictment is they only indicted him. They didn't list a whole series of different people. They didn't put the whole structure together. They're kind of saying like, hey, like his company, his legitimate companies are part of the structure. They didn't list like Puffy's here and then all these other people are here. So I think that there's a reason for that because everybody else has already cooperated and they're already coming out and cooperating. That's why they're not named in the indictment, and they're still cooperating because they're talking about doing a superseding indictment now. So if he wasn't in trouble on this indictment, he's definitely going to be in trouble on the next indictment because a lot of times people don't want to be the first one. They don't want to go. They don't want to cooperate. They don't want to be that guy. They don't want to be, because what if I go and I cooperate? People know I talk to the feds and then they don't indict you. Now I'm just a snitch out here. Now I'm in trouble because this guy, who knows what he'll do. But the moment you get indicted and they grab you and keep you in prison, people are like, oh shit, I need to jump on the bandwagon. I have things to say. I want to be a part of this, this whole, conspiracy or whatever you want to call it. I don't want to get I want to get ahead of it because I don't want to end up being named in the next indictment. So, hey, I have stuff to say too. So it's only going to get worse.
Yeah, I think that it's obviously going to get worse. Like I just said, I did a live on my channel, Blood on the Razor Wire TV, and I talked about who the main witness is. Who's the main witness here? It's Cassie, right? She's the girl that gets beat up. She's his girlfriend. She makes, she's the one that drops one of the original lawsuits. He ends up saying, hey, look, you know what? I'm going to, the next day, let's settle this and be done with this, right? But they're not done. It's not done. That was just the beginning up to the end. And then Little Rod comes and drops a lawsuit. And he's like, hey, man, I think they're telling him we're going to drop a lawsuit, man, if you don't. And he's like, well, his lawyer's probably like, look, you got to stop it because if not, it's just going to keep on going. You got to fight, And I think it was probably the biggest mistake of his life was the issues with Little Rod. Little Rod had the video footage. And you know what? If he would have settled with him, there's some other people that came out of the woodwork, but would they have had the evidence that Little Rod has? Probably not. And maybe he wouldn't be in the position that he's in now.
So what do you think? I'm sure you have a different opinion of this. My opinion is right now, if he was smart, he would probably go in, cooperate, if he has anything to cooperate against, get 20 years, maybe 15, and get time off for helping to build other cases. And maybe he ends up with 15, maybe he's out in 7-8 years with good time credits or whatever. Maybe. I know you differ. You know, if he goes to trial, he loses it. Look, let me put it this way. Enticing professional workers to cross state line from California to Miami, you're already guilty of trafficking. That's a done deal. You need one or two people to get on the stand and say they contacted me. This is what happened. Like that, yeah, that's over. You got nothing. So that's 20 years. The gun charges, with the defacing of these weapons, that's a major problem. Like he's done. If he goes to trial, he's not beating those charges. So what is your take? I'm thinking he could get 20 years to 15 years right now and cooperate, maybe get it down if they allow him to. And I know you think they're not going to let him, but who knows? But if he goes to trial, I think he's done. He's getting 30 years. Who knows how much? Maybe more. What do you think?
So this is my opinion, right? And I mean, I do criminal law every day.
Yeah.
Federal criminal law, and I've been doing it for 20 years. I think that in his situation, I don't think they want, there's some people that they get that they don't want to cooperate. There's some people like, we don't care what you have. We want you.
Right.
You're Puff Daddy. There's someone pulling the strings, and they're like, look, and when you read the indictment, there's underage girls in there. There were some underage dudes. And there's people that are really against that stuff, right? People are like, yo, we hate,
Or underage. Maybe I missed it. There was, in the indictment, it says underage.
I can highlight it and probably send you a picture, but yeah, they talk about that. It was either in the indictment or in the bail letter from the U.S. Attorney's Office.
Okay.
Because I had underage girls, and they were putting some stuff in their drinks, and then they were doing the freak offs that were going on for 2-3 days. People were so exhausted they had to get IVs and all kinds of stuff, right? I mean, this dude's doing some really people do what they want behind closed doors, but I mean, this dude seems like a pretty deviant dude, right? Was he a predator? I think that money and fame went to his head. But what do I think happens to Puffy, right? I don't think that they want to give him a cop-out. I don't think that there's an opportunity for that. The only thing that I think that maybe could help him if he were to decide to cooperate is depending on what his involvement is in the Tupac murder, right? Because I think that's something that's in the storage shed right now with Keith D and all that stuff going on, right? I think that Puffy's involved in that. I mean, that's my opinion. I could be wrong, but I think that they got that too. And I think that might be part of the reason why they went into his house in California. I think they have that. I think that if he has something to connect whoever it is, that might help him. And people are thinking, well, once you cooperate. No, you could cooperate and still get 20 years. You can cooperate and get 25 years. And then he's got to think back, damn, I'm 54 years old. If I do cooperate and they give me 20 years, let's just keep, we'll call it what it is, 20 times 2. We'll say about 2 months of good time, 20. He's down to about 17 years. He goes to the halfway house. He's got a year. Trafficking. He's not eligible probably for any First Step Act credits. He's doing 15 years, but on a 20 piece. So now he's got to think 54. I'll be 70 when I get out of prison with good time. If I don't get jammed up, he'll get jammed up once or twice because there'll be some cops that just don't like him because of what his charges are and because he's Puff Daddy. And they're like, you know what? I'm a $60,000 a year correctional officer and I hate you. And I don't know why I hate you. I just hate you. So I'm going to do some shit and destroy your cell and write you up. And you've seen it. You've probably experienced it before. So as far as copping out, I don't think he gets a cop out. I don't think they want to let him. I think they're like, yo, you're a vicious dude. We don't like you. And there's some people, some women that are up there that are, got some power up there in the U.S. Attorney's Office that are involved. And they're like, no, we're pushing this dude to the full extent of the law. I mean, here's your example. People say, come on, you always hear the conspiracy theories. Oh, he's got money. And look, Epstein, he had a whole lot of money. Boom, gone. R. Kelly, he had a couple dollars and he was a pretty famous dude. Boom, you're gone. I mean, Puff Daddy's the next one on the list. He's gone. Do I think he goes to trial? Maybe he's so arrogant that he believes, you know what? I got to take a shot. And he takes a shot, and how much time does he get? I think they put his lights out. He gets till the sun burns out. He may very well get a life sentence, 40 years. I mean, you can speculate and say 20. He's not getting 20 if he blows trial and trafficking and whatever else is to come, including maybe, some 924Cs, possession of a firearm in furtherance of, a violent crime. They're going to say trafficking is a violent crime. Guns were present. Then you got the stuff with kind of old, but the Kid Cudi stuff where they kidnap him. They're going to, I mean, what do you think the government sentencing memorandum is going to look like?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to look like what the judge said right here. Why, the ongoing danger. I mean, it's here. She's like, you're a danger. I can't put you in the street. You're a threat to public safety based on your violence. She says violence. She looked right at him and told him this in court. Your drug addiction, which is still ongoing. You're up here in New York to turn yourself in. Because that's what happened, Matt. You know what happened. The lawyer says, look, Puffy, this is the deal. I'm in contact with the U.S. Attorney's Office. We've been in contact with them for the last couple months, as you know. You're going to have to come down here. You're going to turn yourself in because they are going to indict you. Just come on down. You turn yourself in. When they drop the indictment, we'll go over there and we'll get you a bail. So Puffy comes back to New York City. Guess what? The lawyer was wrong, as a lot of them are. He didn't get bail. They showed up and arrest him. He wasn't able to come turn himself in. Hey, the indictment's coming tomorrow, man. Come on down. No, they went there purposely. What does that tell you? They don't give a shit about his lawyer and they dislike him. Because usually in high-profile cases, they will call your lawyer if you've been in communication with them. Have your guy come back, turn him in on Monday at 9 o'clock, come on down, we'll fingerprint him, and we're okay with a bail application. They probably tell him, yeah, come on down. We're not going to promise you anything, but the lawyer thinks, hey, I'm a big shot. I got pulled here. I got big money. This is Puffy. I'm getting him out. Well, it didn't work out that way. And now he's sitting in MDC Brooklyn, where I've been. I've been in the shoe in MDC Brooklyn. The food's absolutely horrible. The cops are absolutely horrible. And, for those that haven't been in the hole, they don't know what it's like to be in a cell all alone with your thoughts. Yeah, he's got a lot of memories and all of that. And he can think about, but that shit hurts right now. When they bring you, when they bring you that burger on Wednesday, it's not the old burger and fries. The burger's absolutely horrible. They used to call it, what did they used to, I forgot what they started calling the burgers now. You can cook them as long as you want. And they're still pink in the middle. They're disgusting. Ugh. They give you like literally 15 French fries. How hungry you think this cat is? He can't even believe he's in that position. Now, when he gets to a real prison, where he's probably going to end up at Tucson or Coleman, right, depending on his sentence, I'm going to call it now. He gets over 20 years, and they send him to USP Tucson with other sex offenders because it's a sex offender prison now. When he gets there, he's got money.
You think he's going to go to a pen with 20 years? He'll go to a medium.
Oh, I think no. Well, this is why he's going to a pen. I'm going to tell you why he's going to a pen. Okay. Because he's famous and he's a sex offender, and they got to protect him. So they're going to send him to the number 1 sex offender prison. He's going to USP Tucson. You got guys over there got 10 years, 7 years, 5 years. They got to protect. I'll give you an example. The mayor from Connecticut, right? They end up sending him over there. Jared Donnell, he's raping kids. That's where he went. He was the mayor. No criminal history, never been in trouble, nothing like that ever in his life. But they send him over there. Why? They got to protect him. You don't want a whitey bum. Now look, people are getting. What if they send him to Milan? They just that sex offender there 2 years ago, threw him over the stairs, stabbed him, jumped on his head. He's in Milan.
Right. So so here's the thing. Butner is a medium and it's a medical facility. Right. So they might send, if he's got under 20 years, or if he's got under 20 years to serve, then Butner is a medium. Like I think he'll score out at Butner. You think he'll score out higher? He doesn't have a criminal history.
Let's talk about that. That's if he gets 20 years. My opinion is he's not getting 20 years. Okay. My opinion is they're taking him to the box.
So you're thinking, okay, look, if he gets 30 or higher, he's going to a pen. I get that. I was saying, I thought you started off with saying 20 and he's going to a pen.
I meant that as a hypothetical. I did say 20, but I meant because I thought you proposed 20, right?
Yeah.
That's if he gets a cop out, but I don't think that he's copping out. Even if they offer him, I don't think Puffy's going to say, hey, I'm 54 years old. I'll take a 20 piece. I think he's a narcissist and I think he's an egomaniac and he's going to think he can beat him. I think he believes, man, these girls were there because they wanted to be. And his lawyer may explain to him, look, once they cross this state line, they got you. This is Travis. He's not thinking about it. He's like, no, man, them girls, man, they came because they wanted to. We was paying them to come. I think he goes to trial and I think he blows.
So it's funny because I did a podcast on this a couple of days ago. And we were talking about it, and I was saying that here's the thing about, and I'm not saying all attorneys, okay? I'm sure there's some decent attorneys, but let's face it, most attorneys, even high-profile attorneys, are looking at this guy thinking, this guy's a fucking, he's a bottomless pit of money. So I can make a ton of money if I convince him we can go to trial and potentially win. So you're right. I think if his lawyer feeds into it, if he's got a good lawyer, his lawyer's telling him, take a fucking plea. You got no chance at fucking trial. You're going to just blow $5 or $10 million if we go to trial. It's going to drag out for 3 weeks. The government's going to hate your guts, and they're going to give you 45 years if he goes to trial. Hopefully he has a good lawyer, and the lawyer says, take a plea, try and cooperate. We can get you sent to a medium. Maybe in a few years you'll be in a low, and he'll be okay. As far as you saying the underage girls, like I was not taking that into consideration, because when I read the indictment, I didn't see anything. I thought these are all consenting adults or they're professional workers. And so you're saying, no, that adds a whole other dynamic that I didn't realize was there. If that's the case, yeah, you're right. I mean, he's never going to a camp. His best bet would be to be at Coleman Low. That's his best. That's the garden spot for him.
It's not happening. Hey, maybe I'll be wrong. I don't think it's happening. I don't think they want to give him a cop. Here, let me read this
in 2 years.
Huh?
We'll come back and check the tape in 2 years.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe I'm wrong.
We'll see.
I think that he's high profile. They don't like him. They don't like what he was doing. I mean, this cat's got 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant in his house. They know some shit, like some off the wall. I don't know, dude. People can have as much baby oil as they want, but you have to really, put that in perspective, and you have to think this dude's a predator, bro.
Yeah.
You got 1,000 bottles. So look here. Let me read this part to you, right?
Yeah.
Finally, it bears noting that within the first 24 hours of this case's unsealing, there are already new concerns about witness interference as well as interference with a fair trial based on the defendant and his counsel's attempt to publicly discredit one of the victims. As Judge Chernarski noted in her ruling, one of the pertinent concerns here is the power imbalance in the case. They're on him about the power already. Like, this dude's a powerful dude. We hate these people. This dude, he's using his influence. He's using his money. And the government's just shooting at this dude. They talk about Bankman-Fried in here. I am going to find the underage thing for you. So it might take me about 30 minutes. So I'm not going to find it while we're on here, but I will find it for you and send it to you because I read it myself. Your lawyer asked me about the chart. Oh, this is the judge. I don't know if you know. Did you read this yet or no?
Oh, no, I didn't read the letter. You just showed me.
Let's let your viewers hear what the judge says.
Okay.
As Judge Karnowski observed, your lawyer asked me to trust you and to trust him, and I don't think you can trust yourself. And I don't believe that counsel has the ability to control you. Indeed, since at least in or about January 2024, when the defendant was unquestionably aware of the criminal investigation, the evidence shows that he has engaged in multiple free calls, some involving the interstate transportation of individuals to participate, has continued to use narcotics, and has contacted multiple witnesses. Some of this conduct has even taken place since the defendant arrived in New York City, allegedly to sit out and wait to be arrested. The defendant's conduct is demonstrably not cooperative and indeed highlights his inability to abide by the law or counsel's directives. This is the judge.
Right.
Denying bail and saying, look, dude, you're here. I don't trust you. No one can trust you. So you can get the tone from the judge, right? Who I believe was a former U.S. attorney. I might be wrong, but I think that was her tone. And like I know, U.S. attorneys despise people. They absolutely hate criminal defendants. The U.S. attorney's office, there's no remorse, no compassion. You ever met a compassionate person that works at the U.S. attorney's office? Probably not. They're here to smash you. They don't want to hear shit. If they believe you did it, that's it. They don't have a problem giving. I got 40 years. I was 24 years old with no compassion, bro. So, I mean, you can see where the mind frame is, where they're like, yo, this guy's a bad dude. Mm-hmm. And, they're not, I just don't, I don't see him wanting to accept 20 years because I think he's a narcissist. I see him believing that he's going to beat this shit no matter what his lawyer tells him. And what you just said is exactly what happens in the federal criminal justice system, right? You got a guy that's got money. And a lot of times the lawyers, and I've had clients that been down this road where the lawyers tell them, we can beat this. I got a client right now, female, they gave her 15 years. She was in service, all kinds of stuff. Lawyer's like, we can beat this, man. It's your husband. She goes to trial. Instead of taking the 3-year plea, she blows trial and gets 15 years, right? But why'd the lawyer do that? Because the lawyer wanted the money. Now, if you get a federal defender, and not all federal defenders are bad. There's some phenomenal ones in New York, Deidre Von Thornton. There's some CJA people like Jillian Harrington, Thomas Theophilus out of Buffalo. Some of these people actually do care. But a lot of times you get public defenders or CJA counsel, court-appointed counsel, the court's paying them, and they're like, yo, you got to cop out, man. Because they don't want to deal with this shit. They put in their bill and they tell the court that they did this. They know what they can bill and what the judge is going to pay, right, on a CJA. Yeah. They don't do half the work they say they did. They get paid. And they do tell people, hey, once in a while you will get a lawyer that says, look, you're not going to win. Whether I'm a public defender or a CJA or paid attorney, you think you can't win. So that you have to, this is it. If you lose, you get 50, and you're probably going to lose, or you end up copping out and you get 15 or 20, and you probably should do it because you're going to lose. I'm sure in his situation, man, them lawyers want that bread, man. So, I mean, they're painting their narrative all over the news, right? He's not guilty. When the little Rod indictment, when the little Rod lawsuit / indictment dropped, his lawyers counsel, so we're going to prove every bit of this wrong. This is another guy just chasing money. They're doing what lawyers do. They probably collected $200,000 off this cat, just dealing with that little bullshit, right? He didn't do it. Well, now, guess what, Puffy? Your lawyer said they ain't got proof, so now you got to disprove all of those videos. This cat was walking around and recorded him, bro. Was he lining them up for later on to blackmail him? Was he lining them up in case he ever pissed him off? Diddy told him a bunch of times to record a lot of the freak-offs and shit. So, I mean, that was with his consent. Like, yo, videotape this. Justin Bieber's here playing the skin flute. Like, you know what I mean? I think something might come out about Bieber, man. I think there's some wild allegations out there.
Yeah, people are nervous right now in Hollywood.
Yeah, the Beeb's bobbing maybe. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know.
So let's say, because so if let's say he does go to, let's say he gets whatever. Let's say he gets 35 years. He goes to prison. Well, first of all, right now he's on watch.
Of course, always.
So,
what happened to Epstein to happen to him? If that happens, they're going to MCC now, MDC. Like, what's up?
So let's assume he goes to trial. He loses, spectacularly, which I'm sure he will, and he gets somehow or another ends up just getting 35 or 40 years, and he gets sent to the pen that you just mentioned. What do you think it's like for him in there? I mean, and I don't know. Here's the thing. Like, I don't know how to say this without. I don't know. I know. Let's assume that there's underage.
Here for you. I know what you want to say. But go ahead. Maybe I should.
Yeah. Let's say there is underage. Well, let's say he doesn't go in under the umbrella of an SO, right? Because to me, if underage is a 17-year-old that's trying to get in the party and maybe he's involved, maybe he's not, maybe it doesn't come out, maybe it does come out. I don't know exactly what that situation is. So if you remove that and it's just professionals, professional workers coming over state, and he ends up with that charge, I don't think that people are going to look at that as being horrific in federal prison. I could be wrong. I don't know what it's like in a pen. But what do you think? If that's the kind of umbrella he's under, he gets 40 years. Yes, there were professionals that he flew in. He is, he's got the gun charge. He's got everything. He loses, he gets 40 years, and he goes to the pen. What do you think it's going to be like if it's not under the umbrella of an SO?
So this is what it looks like, right? We're going to call it how it is right away. There's a New York dude in that prison that he's going to go to. Let's say he doesn't have the underage stuff, right? Let's say he shows up at Big Sandy or he shows up at USP Hazleton, right? There's a big homie on that yard from New York, right? There's some black dude that's running the yard for the blacks, right? There's cars in prison, the white car, the black car, the Mexican car, the Bloods, whatever. Somebody's on that compound. It might be one of the Bloods. And the first thing they're seeing is, yo, I got 30, 40 years. I need a lawyer. This man's about to pay for my lawyer. This man's got plenty of bread. And they're going to press him. Somebody's going to press this dude. And what we would call friendly extortion, right? And he's gonna fall right in place. He's going to pay. They're not going to, yo, listen, homie, I got the knife. Yo, this is what it is. No, they're going to friendly extort him. Like, yo, man, you know what it is, man? He don't want to die, man. He don't want to be in prison being victimized. So a New York dude is going to scoop him up. I'm going to put him under the wing. I've been around plenty of these dudes, man. And dudes that are watching, or if they see your channel, look, I've been around dudes in the penitentiary. I've been around dudes at FCI Raybrook that was like a mini pen. Dudes like Guy Fisher were there when I was there. One of the big homies from Brooklyn, Lex. This dude, AD. I'll mention AD, Aldo Mitchell, right? Dude went to prison when he was young, stick-up kid, got 30 years, got a little bit of size with him, been in the pen, been in Canaan, and anytime someone came with any money, dudes will comment on your channel if they see this. AD. He was on him. He was pressing. Like, yo, what's up? They had this dude that was allegedly, related to Suge Knight, was originally from California. He was a big shot blood. One of the biggest dudes I've seen, bro. these New York dudes were on him like a hound. Yo, homie, you got to do this. Yo, they took everything he had, bro. And at the end of the day, this big dude that acted like he was the toughest dude in the prison when he got there was the weakest dude. He went to the cop's office and said, man, I got to go. And he left, and they stole 6 bags of property from him. They took everything he had. They didn't send a peanut butter bag down there. That's what happens if he goes to the pen. He gets friendly extorted.
That doesn't sound friendly.
No, I'm talking about eventually the dude had enough. That's what I'm telling you. He goes to the cop. It's like, yo, I got to go. But what I'm saying is there's always a person. There's going to be a New York dude wherever he goes that either they're going to hard press him, which they probably won't do, but they're going to soft press him, and he's going to pay. Now, if he ends up in Tucson or he ends up in USP Coleman.
Wait a second. Can you break that down? What do you mean that they're going to soft press him? What is that conversation?
This is the soft press. You're the big homie. You're the boss. You got the yard. So you're the leader, right? Anytime you're around a leader, what happens? People flock to the leader, right? He's the leader. That's who Puffy has to talk to. You get there, they're like, yo, what's up? We already know who you are. Yo, we need that paperwork. If it isn't Puffy, but his shit will be all over the news. They'll have his paperwork before he even gets there. Yo, they're like, yo, listen, homie, I'm the homie here. I'm the shot caller. This is what we do. Hey, this is the Black TV. You can watch TV here anytime you want. We usually go to chow together. You can hang out with me. And of course, he's going to flock to that dude. This is the soft press. This is the friendly press. Yo, what's up? This is my man P. You guys already know what it is. Yo, P, what's up? But the dudes that you're dealing with, these dudes are wolves, man. You could talk all that shit. You were in the street. You had a gun. You were involved in the shit with Shine. But you're around real wolves in here. People are getting stabbed 20, 30 times. People are dying in here. So all that shit you were doing on the street, acting like you were tough, man, you just had a bunch of money and a bunch of clowns around you. You're around real wolves now. And he's going to know, man, these dudes are from the gut. Dudes are impressive. Like, yo, you're my boy, man. You're hanging out with me. And then they come, what? He starts to offer. They don't have to ask.
Okay.
He's going to offer. Yo, what you need, brother? You already know, man. You know what it is. What you need. I got you.
Right.
Yeah, homie, yo, listen, man. Send old boy, yo, so we can eat, right? I got the cook for us and everything. They're going to have some dude cooking for them. Yo, send old boy $2,000. It ain't shit to you, Puff. Send him $2,000. And then the next thing, yo, man, what's up, man? Yeah. People are going to flock around this dude. He's a leader, right? He's got the money. He's going to feed people in all different ways. Next thing you know, he's like, yo, listen, homie, I'm working on that appeal. You know what I'm saying? I know you know a lawyer, man. I know you got them lawyers, homie. Your boy's got, life plus 30. You got life for the drugs, 30 for the guns. Like, what's up? Man, that shit ain't nothing. Yeah, let me holler at my boy, man. Let me holler at my lawyer. And that happens, right? And then it starts to get to the point, like I was just telling you about the kid that, was from California, allegedly Suge Knight. And anyone that was at Raybrook knows what I'm talking about. Eventually, the press gets so much that you can't take it no more. Not financially. He can take care of people the rest of his life financially. But the press becomes so much that he does what? He checks in. He can't handle it. Or he calls his lawyer and he's like, yo, man, you got to get me the fuck out of here, man. I can't make it here. This is what's happening to me. Get me out of here. So they get him out of there. And they're like, well, look, we're going to call the DOJ or we're going to reach out to Gleason who could help us. We're going to reach out to someone and we're going to tell him, now you need to go to Coleman where you'll be safe. And now he ends up in Coleman, right?
What, the pen still? Or
maybe they get him down. If he goes to Coleman, he goes to Penn 2 probably, right? Because we're talking about if he was in a real USP, let's say he was in Big Sandy. So now they're like, yo, we're going to get you over to Coleman 2, we're going to get you to Tucson. So now what happens when he gets to, let's say he goes to Tucson, right? Because I think that's probably where he's going to end up. Remember, we're coming back to see if I'm right or wrong. If I'm wrong, I'll bow down.
All right.
If he goes to trial and blows trial, he's going to Tucson or he's going to Coleman. He gets to Tucson. He's around some dudes, and I gave an example the other day. There's this cat that I know, right? Powerful, right? I happened to be at Tucson right when they were transitioning it, right? They put one unit as a offender unit. They made them dudes stay there. They couldn't come around us, and then they just ended up shipping everybody out. Tucson was a dangerous prison at one time, a very dangerous prison, one of the most dangerous pens you could be in. Maybe not as bad as Victorville, but definitely bad. And they started to transition it into a sex offender place and started putting offenders in one courtyard. You know what the courtyards look like.
Yeah.
And then they couldn't, they got their food brought to them. They had to play soccer in the little field right there. And then they just did the whole side. And then this side wasn't and this side was. And you could talk to them through the fence, whatever, but you couldn't touch them. You could never get to them. You know what I mean? And there was a cat there named Powerful. And I think he was involved in, was the Lawrence Taylor case? Loosely connected to that. One of his women were doing that. He was in jail. He's broke. Big ass dude. Broke. but still pretending he was that dude. And this is the type of dude that Puffy would get around. He's loud, he's boisterous. This dude looked like he's been lifting weights since he was 3 years old, but he ain't got shit. So what happens? Yo, Puff, what up, yo? You already know what it is. I got the New York car. You're in a sex offender prison, and you got the New York car among sex offenders, right? Yo, this is what it is, homie. And now he puts the soft press. The soft press is probably not as bad. His soft press, he's petty, right? So his soft press is what? $500 a month over here so they can eat? He's acting like he's his friend. But Puffy's not a fool. He knows that this guy ain't his friend. He's just living now, right? He already seen what Big Sandy was like. He already seen what Pollock was like, or Hazelton, wherever he was at before. And now he's like, damn, I'm around other people. People ain't trying to stab me here. Mm-hmm. Or you could run into someone like the George Floyd cop, right? The ex-black hand dude. He just bugs out one day. He's like, yeah, same thing with Whitey Bulger. Dude stabs him with a pencil. He gets him up out of there in Tucson. And then where's he go? He goes to Hazelton and gets right? So, I mean, you do get around some crazy motherfuckers that'll do some stuff to you, but he's going to have some people. He might have two dudes that act like they're his bodyguards. They're his friends. They walk the child with him every day, and he takes care of them.
Right.
I've seen it, bro. I've seen it in Big Sandy. I've seen dudes where I'm like, wow, bro. I seen a dude, what was that dude's name that had the banks and all that stuff? Big, tall dude from Texas. He had the Ponzi scheme going. Oh my God, what the hell was his name? Right. And Mexicans beat him up so bad they broke his jaw, disfigured his face. He had to have a operation while he was in the county jail in Texas. I was there when they were pressing that cat. They were pressing him in Coleman, right? And they were putting a soft press on him. A couple white dudes. One of them was an Aryan resistance militia dude, and they put the press on him, bro. And he was paying. Alan Stanford. I kind of liked the dude. He was an all right dude, but everybody was out trying to get something from the cat, man. The jailhouse lawyer that was over there was. He was like, I think he did his case for like $5,000 on top of what his lawyers were doing. A case that he would have did for $750, but because it was Alan Stanford, hey, you might need $5,000, bro. Armed dudes were extorting him, some white gang members, and he was paying, bro. He had already got fucked up in Texas, had his jaw and face rearranged.
Yeah, I didn't know
what happens in the penitentiary.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
And what you could do is you could do this. You could go to the cop and say, look, I'm not okay here. I have to leave, right? Or you could say, if I leave, I already know what Hazelton, I don't want to ever go back there. So you have to take the good with the bad and take your best option. And your best option is probably staying at USP Tucson or USP Coleman, because it only gets worse when you leave those places. You leave Coleman too, it gets worse. Where would you rather be?
Well, I mean, he obviously needs to get down to a medium, but I mean, I've seen guys get pressed in the medium too. You know, it's so funny too, because like I was green when I was seeing this. And there's like a doctor who's got like a 40-year sentence for, prescribing for a pill mill. He's walking the track with a couple of black guys. And I was like, well, that's weird. Like this, I've talked to one of those black guys. Like you can't even, I don't know how this guy even understands what he's saying. And then I was walking with my cousin. My cousin said, oh, no, they're extorting him. And I go, what do you mean? He said, like they're saying, they're like, hey man, like, I need this or I need that. He's like, and then they walk around with him. They act like they're his friends, and then he buys them commissary, and he has his wife put money on their books, and he goes, and nobody bothers him. And I remember just being like, fuck. Like, he did have money, but obviously he wasn't Puff Daddy. So that's going to be much. And it was also the medium at Coleman. It wasn't a pen. You know what I'm saying?
Let me tell you what happens when he starts paying that money. He starts to think he's that dude again, like he was in the street. He's the boss. He's the shot caller. He's got the money. He's got the power. He's got these two dudes that are with him, and they're about their business if they got to be, right? So now he becomes arrogant all over again. Like, yo, shit. Yo, Puff, what up? Yo, shit. I mean, that's how he's going to be. I mean, that's what it's going to be. I mean, I'm from New York, bro. I know I've been around the New York car my whole bit. I've been around big boys, man. Guy Fisher, Lex. I mean, I've been around Homicide Lou. Like, I was in Big Sandy with Lou. You want to talk about influence? You want to talk about power? They alleged that this dude, I mean, that's it. Look at his name, Homicide Lou. Johnny Mitchell ended up interviewing him, right? I mean, I was in a unit with Lou, man. Lou liked me a lot. I'm in pictures with Lou. But Lou was that dude, bro. And if he wanted something from him, he's going to get it. And if he wanted you out of there, he's going to tell two young dudes from Brooklyn, from the Bronx, whatever, yo, old boy's got to go, homie. When? Right now? Right, what do you want us to do? Stab him? Yeah, stab him. And they're going to go stab that dude. And he's out of here, bro. That's what happens. I mean, there's dudes in there with real power and real influence. And people live, prison politics in the penitentiary is a whole lot different than the FCI. FCI, they're beating you up once in a while. Some people get stabbed. But at penitentiary, they're sending you out on a stretcher, man. They're trying to end your life. Do I think that's going to happen to Puff? No. But I think he's going to a special prison. He's going to a special needs yard. Maybe you're right. Maybe he does cop it. I just don't see it, man. I don't see him. I don't see them letting him.
I mean, I think that if he got the right lawyer, if he got his head right, and let's face it, he may be better off being in prison right now, because in 6 months from now, his head will get right. His expectations of life will drastically reduce, and he'll realize, I can do this. He'll have heard the horror stories, and he'll realize, like, these people will give me 45 years and not think twice about it. Like, so maybe he ends up saying, and who knows what he's got? I don't know what he's got, but maybe he just pleads guilty. He ends up with 20 years. So if he gets 20 years, then I think he goes to a medium security prison, probably Coleman. He goes to Coleman, and before he even gets there, he puts money on 6 guys' books. Like, they're waiting for him with fucking, they're gonna make a call and a call and a call, and they're gonna get some guys that say, hey, put 500 here on these 6 or 8 guys' books, and we're gonna have shower slides for him and some commissary, and he's gonna be all right. But he's gonna have to keep paying that, And then obviously, I mean, I think that's what happens, because that's the kind of place that Coleman is. And then in a few years from now, 4 or 5 years, he goes to the low. He'll never break the low. I was thinking he might be able to go to a camp, but based on the charges you're saying, yeah, he's never going to camp. But I think and think about it, that's his best case scenario. 15 to 20 years, 4 or 5 years at a medium, then go to a low, and then he just has to write it out. I mean, you're saying he can't get the credit. I wasn't thinking about the credits.
It depends on what he's convicted of, right? I mean, some offenders do get credits, but I think trafficking, I think he's excluded if he blows the trafficking. Yeah,
he's got a real problem now. You're right. He's doing 17 years, maybe 16 with if he goes to a halfway house.
But his lawyer's going to tell him, "Don't worry, Puffy, you're going to get first step back credits." They're going to tell him that. They're going to make him believe, bro, if they give you the 15, you cop out. This is what's going to happen. In 4 or 5 years, people are going to forget about this. It's going to go away. You're going to earn good time. You're going to earn first step back. You're going to get the halfway house. You're only going to do 7, buddy.
Right. Or he's going to tell, how many guys I know that came to prison with a gun charge, and they're lawyers, and they're like, well, yeah, I'm going to RDAP. It's like, you got a gun charge. Or they'd say, no, all I got is an enhancement. You're not getting, even with the enhancement, you're not getting the year off. And they're like, no, that's not true. No, my lawyer said, your lawyer he's never been in a year. He doesn't know. And sure enough, they go into RDAP, and then 6 weeks later, they find out they can't get the year off, and they drop out. So yeah, I'm sure his lawyer they'll say, they'll do anything to convince him to take that plea if they don't want to go to trial.
They don't want to work them for the money.
Right.
The lawyers tell people this stuff all the time, and they don't even know what they're talking about. They don't even know the law. They don't know what the First Step Back says. They don't know they're just assuming that everybody gets it. I mean, I got plenty of clients that call me now. And they're like, hey, my lawyer said, well, here, let's back it up. You ever read Busted by the Feds? No. Well, you should read that first and then call me back. It's going to give you what it is. Lawyers tell you all kinds of shit, and they really believe that they're telling you the truth, and they're not. They don't know. They don't have the experience. They don't know how the Bureau of Prison works. They're in a federal courtroom every day, not the Bureau of Prison. So, I mean, yeah, I think that his lawyers are going to be, telling them some shit that ain't true.
Right. Sorry, I was just thinking about when I signed for my plea, I signed for having a gun, for constructive possession of a weapon, because they found a receipt that my girlfriend, who had been in the military, had a weapon. The weapon had been stolen. We should have a receipt that she bought a weapon. I never saw the weapon. I never touched the weapon. But my lawyer's like, it's nothing. It doesn't matter. It's 3 years. Doesn't matter. It's not going to matter. I was like, okay. I was like, well, that doesn't even make sense. But okay, so I sign. I go back to the unit. Big old black guy that I've been talking to comes up. He's, whoa, what'd you sign for? So, well, I signed this and I signed that. And when he heard gun charge, he goes, gun charge? He goes, you ever been in trouble before? I said, yeah. And he goes, you were on the run? I was like, yeah. And he goes, you're probably going to get more than 10 or 15? I went, yeah. He said, you're going to go to a pen. And I went, what? I said, what are you talking about? I said, everybody else was telling me you're a white collar criminal. You're going to a low or a camp. And I went, what? No, I said, he goes, yeah. Gun charge is going to up your points. He knew how many points, started adding it up. He said, you're going to a pen, Cox. He looked at me, he said, and I'm sure you can take care of yourself. But he looked at me, he goes, you ain't going to do well in a pen. I said, well, you're wrong about that. I said, I can't take care of myself. I said, I can't go to a pen. And he goes, you better get on the phone and call your fucking lawyer. And I went straight to the phone. I ain't fucking signing for no fucking gun. I just lost it. 3 days later, she came back and said they dropped the gun charge. But yeah, she was like, oh, it's not a big deal. I also wouldn't have gotten a year for RDAP. But, she just, yeah, it's not a big deal. I mean, they don't know. Or maybe they know and they're just trying to get you to sign. I don't know.
A lot of times they don't know. A lot of times I think they just don't know. They think that they're right. They don't know what they're talking about. That's my opinion.
Yeah, so like I said, if he ends up in a medium, I think he's going to put money on 6 or 8 guys' books. I think they're going to, like you said, they're going to order commissary. He's going to have somebody make it his bed. He's going to be, is it soft extortion? Yeah, I mean, I agree. He's going to do that. He's going to think he's doing it so that they can help make his, people will, whatever, they'll mop his room, they'll make his bed, they'll help do his clothes. Like, he's going to live very well, but it's still prison. It sucks. And, he's going to have his visitors and he's going to have lots of buddies and her friends. That's assuming that nothing comes out. Well, but once again, that's if he takes a plea and nothing comes out. He gets him to drop some of the charges. Maybe they drop some of the charges. His lawyer's telling him he's going to get 15. He ends up with 20. And keep in mind too, the whole time he's thinking, I'm appealing this, I'm appealing that. My lawyer's going to get me this. So he's just throwing money at him. And so he's got that hope that's getting him through it. That's the best case scenario. Is he ends up in a medium for a few years, and then he ends up going to a low. Best case.
Yeah, I don't think that is his best case, but I don't think that's going to happen. I just don't believe. I don't believe that he's going to. I think there's 2 reasons, and I've said it already, but I think that the government doesn't want to let him cop out. I think they want to smash him, and I think that he's not going to want to cop out to what they would offer if there was an offer, if they even decided. 20 years for this guy that's been out here living his best life? No way. I think my other analysis or my hypothesis is maybe it's so overwhelming, the thought of going to prison for the rest of his life, maybe he checks out. Or if his judge can go to the Second Circuit and convince them to grant him bail, which I think is a possibility, right? If he can get a bond, I think now he realized, like, oh man, maybe he takes off, man.
Yeah, he's still recognizable. Where's he going to go? He's going to get caught immediately. Any country out there is going to grab him and throw him back. Like, they're going to come for him. Let's see, what's he going to do? Go to Russia?
Maybe.
Yeah, his bank accounts are going to be frozen. He's in a bad spot. I mean, he's in the spot he should be in. But yeah,
you don't think he's made moves to move money around and shit while this shit was going on?
How much money can you move around electronically? You know what I'm saying? Like, has he been stashing cash away all of these years waiting for this? I don't know. It doesn't seem like he's thought. I think
he never thought this would happen.
Right. I don't think this ever. You get arrogant enough that you just don't think it'll ever catch up to you. Or you have close calls and you keep you keep settling those lawsuits and you just think, like, I'm like that, bro. Like, I can handle anything that comes at me. I got it all taken care of. Then you get you get the indictment, you get the cuffs put on you. The judge doesn't let you out on bond, and you realize after a week in that cell, you start thinking, I don't know if I can do this.
Thinking that right now, he don't know if he can do this. He's like, wow, man, like, this ain't my life. He's so used to being the boss, right? He's so used to having power. What happens when you take power from someone, right? Absolute power, absolute corruption, right? And I think that, man, once upon a time, he was probably an all right dude, but I always, since I was a kid, felt like, hey, I grew up listening to Biggie, one of my favorite rappers, him and Jadakiss. But, and you've seen Puffy, he's always around. I used to think, this dude's an arrogant dude, man. Like, sending people to fly to New York City to get him a piece of cheesecake from Junior's because he's in California. He had it like there. He could fly a plane to go get a cheesecake, bro. And I'm like, man, this dude's man. I used to think, man, like, damn, man, you could be taking care of some kids, man, with that money. You're wasting that shit, bro. Right. I always felt like, once he got that power, people get arrogant, man. People like, you get money, you get power, and you get arrogant. That's what it is.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Well, let me tell you, he's about to get a fucking dose of humility.
I think he's already got it. When you're sitting in that shoe and they put you in that orange jumpsuit and they give you them orange jump shoes, right? He's used to wearing designer clothes and eating the food that he wants. His reality is like, he's looking around that cell right now and he can't even think, right? His thoughts are everywhere. He can't calm down right now. He's in a state of distress. He can't read a book. He's walking back and forth. He's pacing. He's like, yo, I need a legal call. He's telling his lawyers, I need you to come up here. He's in desperation mode where he has to do anything he can to get out of that cell. I'm going to pay you whatever you need. Come up here. I need a lawyer visit. Send your people up here. Bring them up here to talk to me. And I mean, I'm sure that there's people up there visiting him on a regular basis, lawyers, just so he could get out of that cell. Because look, I did 14 months in the hole, right? And have you ever been to the hole?
Yeah, but most I ever did was like 45 days. That's nothing.
Well, I mean, 4 days is too long. What hurts the most, probably the first 3 or 4 days is what hurts the most. You're instantly depressed. You just came off the street. You're in a cell all alone, no one to talk to. And you're like, damn, man. And you're facing a life sentence. And you know you're facing a life sentence. And sometimes you're all alone with no one else but yourself. You're all alone with your thoughts, right? He can lie to anybody he wants, but he can never lie to himself, man. And he knows what he did. And he knows what, his lawyers, he knows what he's got the indictment in his cell. He's reading it. That's what he's reading right now. He's probably, you know what it looks like? You've been there. This is what it looks like. This is what his indictment looks like right now. It looks like this right now. He's been walking around his cell now all day, balling it up. Like, man. He's got the waves spinning on his head. He's like, damn, man. He's scratching. He's like, man, what the... Man, why'd he say that? That ain't true. He's telling himself, no, I ain't do that. No, hell no, I'm going to beat that. And then he's like, damn, man. You don't think he's cried since he's been in there? How many interviewers think that Puff Daddy has cried since he's been in solitary confinement in the SHU? Special housing unit. Nothing special about it. How many times do you think he's cried since he's been in there?
A considerable amount. Considerable.
Did you cry when the first time you went to the SHU?
No, but I'd been locked up a few years, and I had already had a dose of humility. I'll tell you, when I cried when I got fucking sentenced, like I couldn't stop. Like by the time I got a hold of myself, I was in the U.S. Marshals, back in the cell. Then they put me in the van. Then you drive back. When I got back to the U.S. Marshals, the holdover, and walked in, I had just been on the news, and 150, 200 guys looked right at me, and guys are just like shaking their head. Boom, the fucking waterworks start again. I mean, just couldn't even stop it. Because I would remember thinking, thank God I got myself under control before I walk in this unit. Oh.
Hey, I mean, that's what he's going through, right? Eventually, when he makes it to prison, he'll be in a much better position, right? He won't be in the SHU no more. He'll be able to make moves. He'll be able to order, hey, who's working in the staff kitchen? I'm sending, dude's paying you $500 a week. I got $1,500 a week. I got to eat. And then what happens is the dude that was getting the contract, someone tells, and now that guy doesn't work in the staff kitchen. I mean, it's just a vicious cycle of, all the people that don't, we're convicts. We don't do this. We don't do that. They all do all that shit. Yep. Someone's going to get mad. Someone's going to tell. He's got the contract now, but he'll be able to move. He'll be able to make moves. He'll be able to eat what he wants.
He can't even think about anything like that right now. Right now, it's still trying to get, once he's been locked up 6 months or a year. And like I said, his kind of expectations where he's like, look, like if I can get a good book that I'm into, like this is gold. This is amazing. Like I got a book that I can't put down. He can't think like that right now. He's expecting 4 fucking strippers to show up and have a fucking threesome and bring in some videos and slash some baby oil on them. And, he's still thinking like that. Like he's not thinking, hey, if I could just get a good book.
I'll tell your viewers what he's not doing. Even though we know he's probably a deviant type of cat, like he's into some wild stuff. Like we said, whatever you do behind closed doors, I guess that's whatever he does, but his shit's vicious, man. Some of the stuff, you only got bits and pieces in the indictment. Like you got this much. I do federal criminal law every day. The indictment tells you this much. There's really this much. So I tell you what he's not doing right now. He's probably not walking around his cell butt naked, hitting himself off. He can't even think. No matter how deviant he is, he's distraught, man. The dude's distraught right now. He's hungry. He might not even be, well, you know what? He's been there a few days. He's probably starting to get hungry now. And now he's looking at the tray like, damn, bro. He's the type of dude, he's like, damn, man. Man, eat that bullshit.
The first few meals, it's like, I'm not eating that, boy. That 2 or 3 days later.
Boy, that old yokosabi, that chicken fried rice with no chicken, it sure is, it smells good. And then he's going to eat it. He's like, damn, man, the portions are so small, my stomach's touching my back. His stomach's touching his back.
Mm.
And you know what his goal is right now? His goal is to what? I mean, they went and complained to the judge already in their detention order that, hey, the jail conditions are absolutely horrible. I mean, you got MS-13 just stabbed someone there 40-something times. Two people just got there, right? About 6 months ago. He's not in a nice place. NBC Brooklyn's a dangerous place, full of bloods, full of young dudes from New York that don't give a fuck. Lots of gang members. MS-13 dudes are down there. It's not the nicest place.
Well, I was going to say, what a weak-ass argument. It's like, the conditions are horrible. Well, really? Because we got thousands of people going through there every single day. Are we supposed to ship all of them and fix all? If it's good enough for the rest of everybody else, it's good enough for your client. Like, that's a move, just a bill. Yeah, absolutely. We're going to file a motion right now. Charge him fucking $4,500 for the motion. We know it's getting turned down.
The letter's probably $5,000, the letter that his lawyer wrote.
Right. So,
so he's like, man, I need to pay my lawyers, man. I mean, he's not, money doesn't mean anything to him anymore. Nothing means anything except for, man, I got to get out of here somehow, some way. You got to get me out of here. I don't care what it costs. I don't care if I go all the way broke. I just got to get out of here. That's the state of mind.
So he's on watch. Is that just in, because I've never been, I know what watch would be if he was in like the Atlanta pen, like the holdover in Atlanta. I know what watch would be, but I don't know what it would be like in New York. What is that like? Is he in a normal cell and they're just going by multiple times, or is he in one of those special cells?
Let me tell you what, I was a companion in prison, right? In New York, in Raybrook and a couple other places. So they're not going to companion this cat. What is a companion? That means I sit in this chair and I watch him. And, you know, I used to do it, man, because, you know, look, bro, my brother killed himself. My grandmother killed herself. I got a long history of that, right? And I felt like, man, I really wanted to do that, right? Mm-hmm. So I go down there and talk to some of the dudes, man, make them feel a little bit better so they don't give up on life, don't give up on hope. But in his situation, because of who he is, they're not sitting another inmate down there on my companion to watch him. I can guarantee that. It's probably the lieutenant. There's a lieutenant sitting there, and a lieutenant is assigned to that. They watch to sit there in front of his cell and watch him because they don't want the Jeffrey Epstein thing to happen to Puff Daddy. Oh, my God, if that happened, it really, New York would be on fire, right? They'd be saying, hey, the cops plotted, they told him that he knew too much. I mean, the conspiracy theories would be all over the place, and somebody would be in trouble. So, no, I believe they got a staff member sitting there. I don't believe it's a regular cop. There's a staff member that sits right there in front of your cell. You got the G Unit vest on, right? I mean, 50 Cent's been clowning them for years. So, you know, what's the G Unit vest? I'll tell you, people, it's the what they give you to wear. It's like this weighted down thing that they give you to wear. It's like a vest, and you're freezing your balls off literally because it's ice cold in there. And then they give you the G Unit blanket too. That's what we used to call them. The G Unit blanket, something you cannot ever tie or hurt yourself with.
We used to call them the turtle suit. We used to call them the turtle suit.
I call it the G Unit vest, right? And the G Unit blanket where you can't tie it up. So he's in that cell right now, laying on that cold ass mattress, and he's probably got his legs up like this. He just got done pacing for about an hour, and he's got the blanket over him, and the blanket's so small that you can't, like, if you covered your shoulders, it won't cover all the way down to your ankles and your feet. It becomes like right below your knees. So you got to jack your knees up in order to cover up and stay warm. That's the position that he's in right now. I'm sure he may not, you know, I'm sure if he's on it still, he'll be coming off any day.
No pillow.
In his mind, the shoe hurts so bad that he's like, man, I don't care about no one doing anything to me. I need to go to population, man. I need to be able to use this phone all day long if I need. I need to be able to eat. I need to be able to do this. I need to be able to do that. He's trying to get himself into population. He don't give a shit about MS stabbing no one 45 times. And there's dudes waiting for him, bro. Not to hurt him. There ain't dudes at NBC Brooklyn right now waiting to hurt Puff Daddy. I don't give a shit what anyone says. There's no one there waiting to hurt him.
They're waiting. Put money out of their books.
Hell yeah, they're waiting to eat, man. Yo, Puff, what up? There's going to be some dude there that everybody's, you know, like, look, New York City dudes, man, there's always a leader, right? But there's always other dudes that are like, they don't give a shit who you are. You're the leader, man. See, you ain't my leader. But there's more people look up to this one dude that's in the unit, whoever that dude is. A lot of dudes look up to him. They're scared of him. Some of them felons and convicted drug dealers and all, they're scared of that dude. That dude that's got all the power. They're scared of him for some reason. He might not even be able to fight. But he's convinced everybody that he's that dude. So that dude's waiting for Puff. Puff comes up there. You already know. Yo, what up, fam? What's good? You know what it is? Yo, what's up? You need something? Yo, I got you, man. I know you just did what you do. 3 weeks down there? I know you're hungry. Hold up, homie. Yo, I got the rice with the octopus, man. My man's putting it together right now, man. They're over there making the rice with some mac in there. They got the mac coming out of the bag without the bones. You know, I mean, they got him. He needs to get the population. You want to know the truth? He needs to get the population. But the staff are going to be like, oh, no, he's in danger. He's puffed out. He can't go to the population here. And really, he can. It's all bullshit, bro. He's probably better off in population. You need to be around people when you're hurting inside. You need to have people to talk to. You need to be able to get on the phone and call your family because you need a little bit of comfort. You need that shit, bro.
Yeah, but they don't care. The staff doesn't care about that.
They don't care. But what I'm saying is that they make the wrong decisions all the time. But if he knew what was in his best interest, he'd be talking to his lawyers trying to get the population.
Does he get commissary?
The hole?
Yeah, no. Yeah, well, yeah, in the hole. Like, yeah, I'm wondering.
So let me tell you something. A lot of penitentiaries stopped. Like USP Lee, you could get all kinds of shit at one time. Then they broke it down to one bag of coffee, one candy bar. When I was in the hole in college, you get like one. They got 5 things on the thing, 5 different things. You get like one bag of chips, one bag of cookies, one bag of coffee. But I think a lot of the shoes have now transitioned to you can't buy shit. You can't buy nothing, man. Books, magazines, book carts coming. They stopped letting you get books at some of them. I've been in all different places. Newspapers, all the way down. When I was in Lee County, you couldn't get newspapers or nothing anymore by the time I left. Because, people are covering your window with newspapers. They're ripping books up, magazines. People are sending deuce in all different ways. I mean, it's not something that I'm revealing. I mean, they've known this for years. People are going to bookstores and spraying books and having, the bookstore send a book in and, hey, man, page 100 through 115, it's full of deuce. Mm-hmm. Dudes are making thousands and thousands of dollars per sheet. You know what I mean?
What, are there, the shoe you were in, did they have a shower in the cell?
It depends on where you're at. Yeah. I was in Lee County, Pollock, USP Pollock. When I was in the shoot area, we had a shower. USP Lee, we had a shower. Big Sandy, we had a shower. It's usually, I think, when you go to them FCIs, Raybrook didn't have a shower. When I went to the hole in Raybrook, no shower in the cell. You had to walk down the range. But a lot of the penitentiaries have showers in the cell.
Yeah, I was going to say.
In Brooklyn, if I remember correctly, I was in Brooklyn in 2007. No shower in the cell, if I remember correctly. Not in the cell that I was in.
Yeah, I was in the shower in the low and the medium. Both had showers, but in the pen, I went to the pen. I didn't go to the pen. I was held in the pen shoe.
Yeah. For
a day. No shower in there. But I was out in the day. So,
Coleman?
Yeah.
At the one or the two?
I couldn't even tell you, bro. I mean, I was in the van. They drove me from the low to the pen. And I'm waiting for them because they were renovating the low and the medium was full. So they had to put me in the shoe, and the only shoe they had available was at the pen. So they drive me, in a van over there. And I'm going in the pen. I'm like, where are we going? Where are we going? And they're like, we're going to the pen. I'm like, for what? Are we picking up somebody? And they're like, yeah, man, see, it's fucking full in the medium and they're renovating the low. And I was like, fuck. And so when we get there, as they're stripping you down, they can do the whole thing again, put you in your fucking special shoe thing and everything. I said, listen, I seen the guys walking around, they got them in the dog kennels, completely tatted faces, walking around just fucking jacked, looking like caged fucking animals. And I'm looking over there and I said, bro, you can't put me in. You can't put me in with one of these guys. And the guy, that's exactly what he did. He started laughing. He goes, Cox, he said, I got you, bro. You're going to be by yourself. He said, it's okay. They're laughing. And I'm like, bro, I'm from the low. I'm a low inmate. You understand? And they're like, I got you, bro.
Well, yeah, man. I mean, that's my take on Puffy and what I think is going to happen. We'll come back. We'll see who's right. I don't think that he has the balls to cop out to a 20-piece because he knows it's a life sentence. I don't think that they want him to cooperate. I think they want to smash this dude, just like they wanted to smash R. Kelly. They're like, dude, you're a bad dude, bro, and we don't want you out here. Now, if he was just out freaking chicks and, in the club, you know what I'm saying? I think it's bigger than that, man. I think there's going to be a superseding indictment. And I think there's going to be maybe some 924C charges in there, some narcotics charges, maybe some more trafficking charges, some more counts for specific individuals. And I think that he's going to be so far in debt with the government that there's nothing he can do to get out of it.
Well, first of all, there's already people that that are right now being questioned by a second grand jury. So obviously not necessarily that does that mean it always happens, but in this case, yeah, they're right. There's going to be additional charges. But the other thing is, and I agree with you, like take someone like El Chapo, like it doesn't matter what this guy says. Like you're done. You're not, I'll cooperate. I don't give a fuck. Who are you giving us? Like, so yeah, in some cases, there's nothing you can say. But like I said, I don't know what he knows.
The guy that they wanted. They're like, like El Chapo, like you are the guy. We've been fighting the drug war all these years, allegedly. You're the guy at the top of the chain. You and El Mayo. We got you, and now we got El Mayo.
Hey, listen, I got a question. What do you think about the El Mayo thing?
I think it's an absolutely crazy, absurd, like what the hell happened type of story.
You couldn't make that fucking shit up. That's insane. That's straight insanity. Like if you had told, listen, first of all, that whole thing, the guy that the first escape, okay, it was rudimentary. The tunnel for El Chapo was state of the art. The idea that you could half a mile to a mile away dig a tunnel and end up in this guy's cell, like I don't know what kind of engineer you had, but that's some German engineering shit. But then you couldn't make up the whole, I'm going to grab this dude, kidnap him, put him in a plane, fly him to the United States, and drop him off at the fucking at the airport and bring him. I mean, if you told anybody that's what's going to happen, they'd be like, "You're insane. That's never going to happen." You couldn't make it up.
Look, man, I've seen a lot of crazy shit, man. I've seen a dude that killed some people in New York City in Chinatown, and I think he was Vietnamese, and they sent some people from China into Vietnam or Vietnam into China or whatever to get him. I think he was in China, and they just captured him in the night. They paid soldiers to go capture him for the American government and brought him back, and he ended up with 30 years. I was in Big Sandy with him.
What about, oh, God, I can't believe am I really not going to remember this dude's name? Not the Lord of War, the Merchant of Death. Shoot.
The Russian dude.
Yeah.
I know you're talking about.
Yeah, he was in...
Interviewed his celly on my channel.
Oh, really?
Alexander Swing, yeah.
Yeah, they lured him out of Russia to whatever it was, the Philippines or Singapore, or I'm sorry, I don't know where it was, but they lured him out of there to do a deal, arrested him. He fought extradition. He won the extradition. And the American government just came in, walked into the prison, grabbed him, put him on a plane with him screaming the whole time, put him on a plane, flew him back to the United States. That's it.
They kidnap people too, bro.
Yeah.
They want you. They're coming to get you.
Yeah. Oh, I've met a dozen guys that are from Colombia, Cuba, Mexico, where they're, where the U.S. government, where they just came and just grabbed them one night, threw them on a plane. What about, you know who you probably know? His girlfriend's name was Nova. He was a bank robber. Scott Pritchard. Do you know Scott Pritchard?
Know the name, man.
So he and his girlfriend were in South Africa, hiding from, did whatever, 20 bank robberies or something. They're in South Africa. He's making money doing day trading. She's working at as a waitress, and some guy from the United States went into the bar, looked at her, and Scott Pritchard was there at the same time, and had been in a post office in like the United States like 2 days earlier and saw the poster and looked and went, that chick looks like that poster. Went home, pulled it up online, looked at it, printed it off, went back, looked at her because he's gone, and was like, holy shit. Calls the FBI. FBI comes down. They get her fingerprints. They print her. They follow her for a couple days. There was no extradition with South Africa at that time. And so they watched him for a couple days, found out where he was staying at an apartment complex where they were both staying there, watched for a couple days, called the local South African police department and said, this is the FBI. We have 2 of our citizens that are wanted. They're staying at this apartment complex. Don't come into the area. We're going to grab them and bring them to the airport. And they said, all right, we got you. They grabbed him, kidnapped him, kicked in the front door, black bag, zipped him up, handcuffs, threw him in a van, drove him to a fucking to the airport, put him in a plane, flew him back to the United States.
You think Puffy could have went to Cuba and stayed safe?
No, that's what I'm saying. He's too recognizable. I think it would have had to have been someone like Russia or North Korea, somebody who we're just going to be like, yeah, we're not going to do that.
I would take prison over Kim Jong-un any day of the week.
Oh yeah,
for life.
Yeah. Yeah, who knows?
I definitely wouldn't be in North Korea. I think he could have went to Russia and probably lived, man. What do you think?
I mean, if he was able to have money, if he had siphoned off enough of his money, I think that in North Korea, Kim Jong-il may have been, who knows, he may be a fan.
But he could be a fan today and a fucking animal tomorrow. Like he fed his uncle to wild dogs. His family members. If your family members don't mean shit because you wake up in the morning and you're like, you know what? Oh, I'm doing this to that. Well,
he would have been performing the rest of his life for that dude. He would be scared the rest of his life.
You think he'd be singing for him?
Oh, he'd start a whole record label and want to do a whole, like, who knows what he would have him doing. And he'd do it because he'd be terrified.
And if Puffy ever tried to hump him, he'd probably finish him off, right?
Maybe. We'll see what happens.
Put that on a short clip, man. Puffy's trying to hump Kim Jong-un, right?
Listen, they got the punks in federal prison, some of these with boobs and ass jobs, and who knows what's going to happen there.
That's why I said it's not going to bother him as much. I mean, there's dudes in there with tits, chicks with, and I think that he'll definitely, look, everybody knows that he's on ass, you know what I mean? He's a sword fighter, right? We'll use that term. Everybody knows that he's a sword fighter, skin flute player, whatever you want to call it. So there's no shame in his game. Like he's not tripping. He'd be right in prison, like, and not that it's going to make him feel better because he's lost his freedom, but he wouldn't be as uncomfortable as, a regular dude like myself. He's got what he's been doing in the street. He can do in here.
Yeah, he might fall in love. He might settle down. They might have a little ceremony on the yard. You never know. They have karaoke night on Tuesday. Karaoke night, like it might not be a bad situation for him.
You ever watched American History X?
No, I've watched parts of it.
So I was in Big Sandy with this dude, right? And it just kind of relates to Puffy. He was all the way American History X before he changed his life, right? This dude was a white gang member. He was on it. White dudes shouldn't be playing any sports with black dudes. There's the white TV. Like he lived that life, right? And then I would see him years later. He was involved in, some vicious stabbings, attacked this dude on the bus, got the chains off, started whacking the dude with the chains. He lived that life. He also had a life sentence in Nevada. I think he had 20 or 30 years in the feds. And then after that, a life sentence in Nevada. He was a former skin. He was he's a former skin head now. What was it? P99? I forgot. P99 or so. I forgot what they're called. But anyway, and I would see him years later, man. And he was distraught over this Indian dude. Like he was in love with him. They were lovers, and he was no longer a white gang member. And he was now, at a dropout gang member yard. And I was like, wow, bro, like what happened to American History X and he was embarrassed in the beginning, right? And then one day I was like, yo, man, I'm like, Aaron, what's up, bro? Like, what's up, bro? And he's like, bro, I'm here for life, man. He's like, he was embarrassed. He knew that I knew, but he never wanted to talk about it. One day I was out there doing pull-ups and he was out there. I'm like, yo, what's up, bro? Like, what happened, man? He said, bro, I don't know, man. He's like, I love him, bro. I'm like, what the fuck? You love him? Like, dude, you were this all-American gangster, homie, like white gangster. Like, what the? And I was just like, I don't even know what I was, man. I didn't even know what to say, man. This was a dude that other white dudes that, lived that movie life. Like, man, it's like a movie. This was the dude that they looked up to, bro. And he was in their sword fight. And I'm just like, wow, bro. I just couldn't believe it. Some people are watching. They know who he is. When I mentioned his real name, Aaron, they know who he is, man. He's a skin out of California, caught a life sentence in Nevada. I was just shocked, bro. And I'm going to be honest with you, man. For some weird reason, because I lived the prison politic life at one time, that shit hurt my feelings, man, to see that, to know that dude went from being this to that. You know what I mean? I mean, to each their own, whatever choice. It's just not something you would ever expect. And the same thing, well, not the same thing, but Puffy, I do believe he may very well go out there and get married, and he'll have a chick with tits, a dude with tits, and it's all chicks, you know what I mean? And he's not going to be free, but he's going to live the life that, he lived in the street. He's going to be the boss. He's going to have plenty of money. He's going to have people around him. He's going to end up in a safe prison, which we know there's safe prisons, but there's always a nutcase that might be like, you know what? I'm going to get this cat today. I want to transfer, so I'm going to go hit him up because I owe $1,000 a drug debt, right? So I just go stab him, and they're going to send me over to wherever they send me. But I'm going to leave here with good paperwork, brother. You know, you got dudes that are just absolutely, you got dudes that live this prison life. They're absolute morons, bro. And I was one of them morons once upon a time. You know, I'm in prison looking for issues. Like, what am I, a retard? I'm like, yeah, what's up, man? Ooh, well, I'm an asshole, bro. I'm faking at the highest level. And I always say, man, men respect men and, you know, treat me as a man. Before I'm an inmate, I'm a convict. But men make their own decisions. If that cop tells you to go get in that cell and get naked, you're going to get in that cell and get naked. Whether they got to beat you up, tie you down, you're going to get naked. They want to 4-point you, they're going to 4-point you. I mean, your viewers might not 4-point to get you butt-ass naked, hands to the bed, one leg to the bed this way, one leg to the bed that way, and you're there for 2 or 3 days, shitting and pissing on yourself, man. How would you like to live that life?
It doesn't seem super manly.
No, not at all. Men make their own decisions, man, and prison prevents you from making manly decisions. So,
Sometimes I'll get this question, right? And guys will say, like, what was the worst thing you ever saw in prison? The worst thing I ever saw in prison, and, you know, I've seen guys get hit with locks. I've seen guys get stabbed. I mean, I'm sure certain nothing like you saw, but, you know, I've seen guys with so much, you know, blood on their you know, bleeding so much that the white shirt that they had was dark brown and red. Like, just, it was just everywhere. It was leaking, you know, their head, like, you know, so, but the worst thing I ever saw was the complete humiliation of this guy. I was in the Medium writing, you know, I was writing guys' stories, sitting there writing, and there was a punk in there. I mean, thin braids, like full, bro, he practically looked, I mean, it just complete, hair's perfect. I mean, this guy, granted, he's probably 5'9", 5'10", thin, but I mean, with the exception of having like fake tits, like this, like, he was good. Sitting there, stop, with the legs twisted, right?
I'm just messing with you.
Okay. With the legs twisted, reading like a Vogue magazine, turning the pages, reading, and, you know, you see him there, you don't even pay attention. I'm writing, and this guy walks in. He's got to be 6 foot, maybe 6'2". He looks like he's on a heavy dose of steroids, but, you know, these guys just look like that after 20 years of working out. He comes in, and I mean, this guy, I know I'd never seen him in the library. He walks in, and I looked up, and I thought, shit, this dude is jacked. I've seen the guy, you know. He never leaves the rec yard. And he walks in and walks right up to the punk and goes, "Baby, can I talk to you outside?" And the punk just keeps turning the pages. Baby, can I talk to you outside? Everybody there's 20 of us in there, right? We all kind of look up, and he kind of looks around. All of us look right back down. Baby, can I talk to you outside? And the punk's flipping the pages and looks up and says, "I don't like the way you talk to me in front of your friends. Baby, please, can I talk to you outside? Baby, please." And goes to put his hand on the punk's shoulder, and, you know, she goes, "Don't touch me." And he goes, "Oh, baby, please, can I talk to you outside? Baby, please." I mean, the humiliation that came over, I was humiliated for him. It was so, this is a guy that was in, I mean, we're talking about 3% body fat. This is a guy that looked like a superhero. And he's humiliated. Finally, the punk gets up and they go outside, and then they have a little tiff outside, and they have a tiff in the library, very brief. And said, but the basic premise of the story was that it was, I'm telling you, it was like the worst thing I'd ever seen in my entire life. Like, this dude was just crippled, because obviously he's got a life sentence. He's worked his way down from a pen. He thinks he's in love. Maybe he is in love. And it was like a man and woman having an argument in a crowded restaurant, and it was humiliating to me. I'd rather watch a couple guys stabbing themselves. Like, I get what's going on there. This guy it was horrible. Horrible.
Some wild things in there, man. But Matt, I definitely appreciate you having me on, man. I see your channel doing big things, man. And congratulations, bro. You did it. You made it. You know what I mean? You're on your way there. So
no, I appreciate it.
You get some really good guests, bro. Like, you get some good guests.
Do you have anything else you want to go into?
I could say this, right? I just did, I don't know if you got mob genre people on your channel, but I did, in prison, I was a jailhouse lawyer, quote unquote, one of the best. I wrote the first compassionate release motion in the country after Trump passed the First Step Act, and thousands of people have gotten out of jail because of it. And I own a paralegal firm, Freedom Fighters. I recently did Tommy Reynolds' case. Some people might know who Jimmy Calandra is, the Bass Street Crew, right? Well, Tommy's a guy that Jimmy talked a lot of shit about. And Tommy and me were like this in prison. I did his case. I got him a reduction before, and I just did his stuff again. And I've got some emails from people that are like, yo, you're a piece of shit. You got that dude out of jail. You're a scumbag. You killed somebody that was a mother. She wasn't involved in any type of crime. They went to the wrong house. But I just want his case. So he's going to get out on compassionate release. And he should be out soon. Tommy Reynolds, Bass Street Crew guy, turned his life around. And I think he does deserve a second chance, man. But I've gotten some emails where I'm like, damn, dude, you went out to find my email to write me that? Like, I might need it. You know any bodyguards, bro? No. But no, we're all good, man. But I appreciate you coming on. If you could, I'll mention, if you don't trip, I'll mention my channel, Blood on the Razor Wire TV. We do a lot of prison / I'm kind of going towards the true crime thing. I was a staff writer at Prisoners Legal News. I write legal briefs every day. So the true crime thing's kind of my thing. And I'm sure, I don't know if you have, but I narrated my own book. So you can kind of tell I can do the true crime thing. But that's where we're going. Check us out, Blood on the Razor Wire TV. If you need any help with any type of federal prison consulting or any type of federal criminal law, freedomfighterspc.com. But again, Matt, I appreciate you, man. And you took off, man. And hey, man, hard work and determination. You did it, bro.
Hey, you guys, I really appreciate you watching. Do me a favor, if you like the video, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. Also, I'm going to leave the link to Chad's YouTube channel, Blood on the Razor Wire. It's going to be in the description. Just click on the link, shoot you right there. Also, he's got a TikTok account and some other social medias. We're also going to leave the links there. Also to his prison consulting. If you know anybody that needs legal advice, I'm going to do the same thing. We'll click on it. It'll bring you to whether or not he's going to give us his email or an actual website. I don't know. But there'll be a link there. So check it out. Really appreciate you guys. Also, please consider joining my Patreon. It's $10 a month. We have Patreon exclusive content on the channel. Check it out. Thank you very much. See ya.